الآن يمكنكم المشاركة في مبادرة الأيام الرقمية تحت شعار انطلق بقوة مع جوجل، والتي يتناول فيها خبراء جوجل عناوين جديدة أسبوعيا مثل السحابيات، مهارات من جوجل، أندرويد، فلتر، ذكاء الآلة، فايربيس، ديزاين ثينكينج، مقسمة إلى دورات وورشات عمل يومية بالإضافة إلى مسابقات أسبوعية. شاهد الأيام الرقمية مباشرة على اليوتيوب وشارك رأيك وأسئلتك مع خبراء جوجل، واحصل على شهادة حضور في كل محاضرة تشترك فيها. هذا وأكثر من الأحد إلى الخميس ابتداء من الساعة 9 بتوقيت دبي عبر الرابط المبين youtube.com/gdgmena.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أهلا بكم في حلقة جديدة من حلقات مبادرة الأيام الرقمية من جوجل MENA Digital Days. معكم أسماء شادولي، مستضيفة الحصة تاع الجلسات النقاشية. تقدروا ترجعوا إلى حلقاتنا السابقة المتواجدة على القناة GDG MENA حتى تشوفوا المواضيع اللي كنا تطرقنا لها في الأسابيع أو في الأشهر الماضية. حلقة اليوم أو أسبوع اليوم هو أسبوع مميز جدا. في هذا الأسبوع نحتفل باليوم العالمي للمرأة. هو مناسبة كي نتذكر ونحتفي بإنجازات المرأة ونجاحاتها، واللي راح نتمكنوا من أننا نشاركوا بعض القصص وبعض الأمثلة من نجاحات المرأة في المجال التقني في العالم العربي من خلال الحصص اللي نقدموها على MENA Digital Days خلال هذا الأسبوع. أدعوكم إذن اليوم أن تتابعوا معايا هذه الحصة اللي راح تكون جلسة نقاشية مع 3 من أهم المشاركات في المجتمعات التقنية في المنطقة تاع الشرق الأوسط وشمال إفريقيا. أسعد اليوم جدا باستضافة ضيفاتي الكريمات اللي هما كلهم Women Techmakers Ambassadors أو سفيرات لبرنامج نساء صانعات التكنولوجيا، واللي هو برنامج من برامج الجوجل كوميونيتيز الذي يوفر ويهدف إلى تشجيع النساء والفتيات في مجال التقنية وإلى تمكينهن من أنهن يبدأن مسيرتهن المهنية في هذا المجال. فخلوني أن نتشرف أو نتفضل بتقديم ضيفاتي الكريمات. في حصة اليوم معنا كل من الأستاذة سعود مروة، نهى جعفر، وحيدر أسماء. مروة، حتى نبدأ فيك بما أن الجمهور عادة ما تعرف عليك في الحصص السابقة من هذه الجلسات النقاشية. مرحبا بك في حصة جديدة. أهلا بك مروة في حصة اليوم، وشكرا لعودتك في هذا البرنامج. تفضلي تحكي للجمهور تعرفينهم من هي مروة، بما أنه ممكن يكون عندنا إن شاء الله يعني راح يكون فيه مستمعين أو مشاهدين جدد في هذا الأسبوع اللي راح نحتفل به بنجاحات وإنجازات المرأة في المجال التقني. أهلا فيك يا مروة.
Thank you so much أسماء. مساء الخير على الجميع. كما قالت أسماء إنه كاين العديد من الناس اللي كانوا معنا العام الماضي وحتى هذا العام اللي كنا عملنا فيها جلسة نقاشية أو جلسات نقاشية. منهم كانوا 3 العام الماضي، وكانت أول جلسة نقاشية هذا العام في شهر فبراير، وهذه الجلسة النقاشية الثالثة. وشكرا جزيلا لأسماء على هذه الاستضافة وعلى كل الاستضافات الجميلة على قناة GDG MENA. وكما يعرفني الكل أنا سعود مروة، Project Manager at Bumblegeeks، و also trainer في two things، في ال soft skills و also في UX design also. ومن الجهة الأخرى I'm UI and UX designer. I guess that's all. وشكرا one more time أسماء. Thank you so much.
أهلا بك مروة، سعيد باستضافتك من جديد. نهى، تفضلي. نهى إذن واحدة من المشاركين أو واحدة من المقدمين في برنامج الأيام الرقمية من جوجل. ممكن ممكن أن تكونوا تعرفتوا عليها في الحصص السابقة اللي تناولت فيها مواضيع تخص ال UX design. Welcome, Nuha. I'm very glad to be hosting you for the first time in our panel discussion program. Welcome to this session, and hopefully we will be able to see you in future sessions, inshallah.
Thank you, Asma, and thank you for this opportunity. So, salam alaikum, الناس الكل. I'm Nuha Jafar from Tunisia. I'm UX designer since I think 2013. So I started user experience design in gaming, and later I started working on mobile applications and websites. So now I'm mentor at Google for Startups Accelerator. I'm a university teacher, Women Techmakers Ambassador, and also I teach user experience design and user interface design everywhere, online or even even in class. So this is what I'm doing.
Thank you, Nuha. I'm very glad to have you with us today.
Thank you, Asma.
وإلى ثالث ضيفة من ضيفاتنا اليوم، أسماء حيدور. أهلا فيك في أول حصة لك معنا على MENA Digital Days. أسماء، عرفي الجمهور على نفسك لو سمحتي، وخبرينا يعني حتى نتعرف عليك، وإذا كان في إمكانية أن نشوفوك أيضا في الحصص المقبلة إن شاء الله. نتمنى أنه ما تكونش هذه آخر حصة ليك. أهلا فيك يا أسماء، تفضلي.
I think it's thank you, Asma. I think it's my my second session with MENA Digital Days. I have presented before design thinking for online safety problems. For me now, I'm a UX researcher. I worked before as a UX UI designer, and now I'm a UX researcher at Yasir. It's a company in Algeria, and I'm really passionate by design thinking, UX research, and UX design, and I try to help my community to grow in this field by providing some trainers or some content on my LinkedIn. So thank you for this invitation, Asma.
You are most welcome, Asma. I'm very, very glad to have you with us today. I'm always glad to have new guests in our sessions because I'm happy that people can see how many great achieving ladies we have in the region. I'm always glad to be able to present them and to share their success stories, especially that we are celebrating this week the International Women's Day. إذا حتى يعني ما نطولوش في التقديم وندخل في صلب الموضوع، حصة اليوم راح تكون جلسة نقاشية حول موضوع شيق جدا. إذا كنتوا يعني من متابعين البرنامج أو من متابعي القناة تكونوا ممكن سمعتوا عليه في حصص سابقة. إذا كنتوا ديزاينرز، إذا كنتوا حتى يعني تهدفوا إلى إطلاق مشروعكم الخاص، إطلاق شركتكم الناشئة، إلا ما تكونوا سمعتوا عن موضوع تصميم تجربة المستخدم أو ال UX design أو User Experience Design. فمن خلال تجربة الضيفات الحلقة اليوم راح نتعرفوا على ال UX design، ما هو ال UX design، ونشوفوا يعني العديد من الجوانب اللي يجب أنه الواحد قبل ما يدخل إلى هذا المجال أنه يتعرف عليها. وبطبيعة الحال راح ناخذ أسئلتكم. إذا في عندكم أي أسئلة بخصوص المجال هذا تقدروا أن تشاركوها معنا خلال طوال الحصة هذه على الشات أو على التعليقات، وراح نحاول أن نجاوب عليها في نهاية الحصة. إذا حتى نبدأ، خلينا أولا نتعرف عن ال UX design، أو قبل ما أننا نتعرف على ال UX design ما هو ال UX؟ مروة لو تحبي تعطينا شوية مدخل إلى هذا الموضوع، ما هو ال UX أو ما هي تجربة المستخدم، وش نقصد بها؟
Okay, so thank you so much, Asma. Lately, like the last decade, we know a lot about this term of user experience or UX design. Many people are like confused. Is it a new term? Is it an old term? Well, most people think it's a new, but it's been like it exists since ever. So overall, let's give like a definition about what's user experience, and then we will give like what is it in like in general, so that everyone can understand it. So what's user experience, or what's known as UX design? So basically user experience design is the process هو process design teams use to create products that provides meaningful and relevant experiences to users. Okay, this involves design of the entire process of acquiring and integrating the product, including aspects of branding, design, usability, and function. So basically, this is like the most common, or this is the exact meaning of user experience, but in a simple way ولا بطريقة أسهل ولا بمفهوم أسهل. اليوزر اكسبيرينس أو بما يعرف باللغة العربية تجربة المستخدم هو طريقة تعامل اليوزر أو المستخدم طريقة تعامل المستخدم بيور برودكت، يعني the way المستخدم يتعامل مع your product, whether if it's an application, if it's a mobile application, if it's for example a box, if it's a web application, whatever. So user experience أو تجربة المستخدم هو كيفية تعامل المستخدم مع البرودكت تاعك، أو or هي like كيفاش يستخدم أو كيفية استخدام المنتج أو البرودكت الخاص بك من خلال أو طريقة استخدام اليوزر للبرودكت أو الخدمة أو سيستم اللي أنت عملتيه. So in general I hope it's clear now the meaning of UX design وتجربة المستخدم.
شكرا مروة. إذا بالتالي تجربة المستخدم تتعلق بمختلف أنواع البرودكت، فهذا الشيء ما يتعلقش فقط بتطبيق عنده واجهة، خلينا نقولوا عنده واجهة محمول هاتف أو واجهة ويب، ولكن يشمل كل جوانب البرودكت أو المنتج في حد ذاته، صح؟
Yes, exactly, indeed. So, thank you so much for elaboration.
شكرا لك مروة. فإذا بما أنه UX أو تجربة المستخدم تشمل كل جوانب المنتج ومش أمر متعلق فقط بواجهة المستخدم أو واجهة الجهاز، فبالتالي لا شك أنه تصميم تجربة المستخدم يعني راح تكون تتضمن يعني نقاط مختلفة أو أمور مختلفة يجب أخذها بعين الاعتبار، وبالتالي لابد أنه ناخذ في عين الاعتبار الأهمية، أهمية البروسيس أو أهمية العملية اللي راح تاخذنا حتى نقوم بتصميم تجربة مستخدم كاملة وجيدة. أسماء، ممكن تعرفينا يعني على هذه النقطة في نظرك لماذا تصميم تجربة المستخدم أو لماذا ال UX design أمر مهم؟ Why does it matter؟ لماذا يهم بالنسبة للمصمم أو لفريق عمل يشتغل على منتج جديد أنه يعمل على تصميم هذه التجربة، ولا يكتفي فقط يعني بأنه يعني يمر فقط بعملية تصميم المنتج من حيث يعني اللوجيك ومن حيث يعني تصميم الواجهات، ولكن يجب أنه يقوم ينظر إلى الأمر بشكل أكثر كلية، يعني يشوفوا بمختلف جوانب البرودكت هذا.
So هي لماذا تجربة المستخدم مهمة؟ Because we can build beautiful products with beautiful UI and animation and interaction and illustration and with the most trend technologies, but if doesn't fit the user needs it will be not used. So يمكن يعني نروح بمنتجات جميلة جدا with interaction etc. but في الأخير كان هذا المنتج ما يسمحش لليوزر ما يسمحش لليوزر and satisfy his needs, it will be not used. So, and we have lost a lot of budget and time on it, and at the end we will not have maybe something which help us to earn from users. So UX is a key factor for successful product in terms of business also, because it tries to fit the user needs and helps us to build the customer satisfaction. And when we have customer satisfaction, we can have earnings and business money. So, and with UX design, we can provide to our user products that are easy to use. So for example, عند استخدام يعني YouTube for example, you feel this satisfaction. It's easy to look for a video or to add it to your bookmarks or something like this. It's easy to use. So when we have customer satisfaction, we have business earning. So the UX, it's the main role of UX, that it's help us to build beautiful products, and at the same time they are useful and usable for our users. So it fits we should have at the end a product that fits the user needs. يعني لو انا رحت بمنتج اللي ما راحش يستخدموه اليوزرز at the end, so نكون ضيعت وقت ومال في حاجة اللي ما راحش تكون مستخدمة. But with UX راح always try to give us a scope when we will focus in terms of user needs.
شكرا لك يا أسماء. بالتالي فهمت أنه كل البروسيس هذا تاع التصميم تجربة المستخدم يجب أن يكون مركز على المستخدم في حد ذاته وعلى الاحتياجات تاعو. فبالتالي يجب أنه نحاول أنه نصمم البرودكت تاعنا بطريقة أنه نضمن أو نحسن تجربة المستخدم حتى يكون إرضاء العميل تاعنا يكون أحسن، يعني حتى نصل إلى نسبة customer satisfaction أكثر.
Yes, we should have a user-centered design. يعني المستخدم يكون في وسط المشكل. يعني I focus my solutions on my user. So لأنه الخطأ اللي يوقعوا فيه الكثير من مؤسسي الشركات أو المصممين في تجربة المستخدم أنه يروحوا بحلول مبنية على أساس assumptions or يعني فرضيات، وفي الأخير يمكن أن تكون الفرضية غير مسلمة. يعني شغل في الأخير راح نروح بسولوشن اللي ما راهيش مهمة لليوزر تاعنا، وراح تكون خسارة كبيرة، لأنه بعد 6 أشهر أو 7 أشهر it will be difficult to resolve this problem. نرجع للوراء ونعاود من جديد بعد 7 أشهر أو 8 أشهر، ومن بعد راح نكمل ببرودكت اللي راح يكون فاشل في الأخير. So we should focus on UX.
شكرا لك يا أسماء. لو نرجع لنقطة مهمة حكيت عليها، هي أنه راح يكون كلش عنده centered على العميل أو المستخدم، لأنه نهدف إلى أنه نزيدوا الكاستمر satisfaction. نهى، في نظرك بما أنه نحكي هنا أنه الهدف يكون الكاستمر satisfaction، من هم اللي يحتاجوا UX design؟ من هم اللي يحتاجوا who needs to apply or to practice UX design? Is it big companies with products or with apps used by millions and billions of people around the world? Or is it any startup or literally any team who is building a new product? Or is it something like products that provide a service like e-commerce, where it's necessarily and it's essential that you have a high customer satisfaction in order to achieve like the goals or what you aim for through your product?
Actually, for me, All of them need user experience design. So startups need user experience design because they are actually solving problems with new ideas using technology. So actually they need user experience. So they need to understand users, they need to define their problems and needs to find real solutions. And for startups, they don't have big budgets actually to launch a product and sit and wait the time so the product can work or not. They need communication, they need an MVP to test the product and to test actually how it's working. So user experience is so important for startups and for even big companies, because even big companies are solving problems for customers, for users. And in my opinion, I think that when there is a human being and when there is a user and when there is someone here who's having problems and they have needs, I think companies, startups, all those who are actually creating products for them to use, they need user experience design.
Excellent. So great news. Everyone needs UX design when they build their product.
Yes, this is
Okay.
it.
Thank you, Noha. Thank you, Noha. So you mentioned that you have to go through a process where you have to understand your user and define their needs. And so Asma, if I go back to you, بالنسبة ليك, how do we do that? كيفاش نقدروا أن نبحثوا في هذه الأمور و
So Asma, we're asking about user experience research and how we can apply the process, right?
اوكي انت ديجا تحددتي انه اليو اكس we should understand our users needs in UX design. And the UX research is the study of target users that will help us to discover exactly what our user need. So in UX research, what we will do exactly, in generally, we started by collecting data from our users, and always I try to tell you that we should talk with our users and maybe tracking their behavior or their events on our app, on our website, to understand them and understand their behaviors and their real needs. So we try always to do a new UX research based on users, talk to them, test with them, and also track their data and Google Analytics or something like this. And at the end, you should have insights to support your design process and your design decisions. So I think the power of UX research in analyzing the data. So we can have a lot of data, but the way to analyze them and get insights for them is the most important. And I think in UX research there is a clear process. We will discover it and some methods to apply them, and the end we will have a user-centered decisions to support our process and our product.
Thank you أسماء. So في نهاية الأمر ال UX Research أو أبحاث تجربة المستخدم هي مرحلة أو خلينا نقول جزء أساسي من البروسيس أو من عملية تصميم تجربة المستخدم. كنت أيضا حكيتي و already mentioned أنه في product development process. فأسماء ممكن تخبرينا أكثر في أي جزء أو at which stage of the process do we run UX research and how do we do it? ما هي الطريقة اللي نقوم بها بإجراء أبحاث في تجربة المستخدم؟
Yes. So أنا راح نتحدث عن product development process. It contains mainly 5 steps. We start always with the brainstorming, and then we have brainstorm, define, design, test, and launch. So in brainstorm, we try to have an idea about our problem and the possible solutions. And in define, we have what is the end solutions, and then we design it to have a prototype, we test it, and then we launch it. So in UX research, we can have 3 stages of UX research in 3 different stages. Firstly, we start with brainstorming, and here we conduct a UX research, generative UX research. So الاسم generative so يعني تعطينا hint انه راح تساعدنا to generate ideas. راح يكون عندنا ideas عندما نفهم problems and the users and needs. راح نقوم benchmark, for example, competitive analysis. We talk with our users, interviews. Maybe we can test some other apps of our competitors, and at the end we will have insights, يعني الملاحظات اللي تحصلنا عليهم وش نقدروا نروحوا like solution. So generative research help us to generate ideas after understanding the problems. And when we brainstorm and design, etc., we have the second stage, which is design research. And in this stage, we try to test our concept or our solution, if it is the right solution or no. And we should have يعني an ready prototype with some high fidelity prototype, and we go to users and test them. So I want to maybe talk about something when we talk about testing. الكثير يظنوا أنه لازم يكون عندنا يعني logistics and to plan a test, but it's easy. You can test with your father, with your mother, with your sisters, your family. So try to take your prototype and go to them and ask them questions, etc. They are your family, so they will help you. And after that, when we confirm that our solution is the right solution, we pass to development, and we launch our products to users. And maybe we will wait 2 months, 3 months, and now we go with the pre-launch research. And in the pre-launch research, generally we try to analyze data using Hotjars or Google Analytics. They are tools that help us to track the different events on our app, on our website. So we have 3 stage of research. We have generative research at the beginning of product development life cycle. We have the second when we have a prototype to test, and the final stage when we have products in market. So, and I want maybe to mention some methods of research. We have mainly two two categories. So quantitative research or qualitative research. So quantitative, it's about data that we can count. So we can, for example, use surveys, maybe some SQL queries, etc., to have this quantitative data. And for qualitative research, so it's when we talk to our user and test with them. So it's something qualitative, we can't count it. And we have another classification like secondary and primary. So secondary, when we can do research without users, because sometimes we have limited budget or limited time, so we should do research but without users. And I don't recommend it because I always support user-centered design. So secondary, in general, we can start with market analysis and some evaluation, and then support this secondary research with primary research. And the primary research is always based on our users. So to sum up, we have 3 stages, and in each stage we have either qualitative or quantitative research. So it depends on your resources, on your budget, and especially your time. Because in general, the development teams or product teams work in agile. So, and we need to deliver each 2 weeks. So to do research is a little bit hard, but you can do it.
Thank you أسماء. شكرا أسماء. إذا بالتالي عندنا راح يكون فيه أبحاث حول تجربة المستخدم في كل مرحلة من مراحل تطوير المنتج تاعنا. إذا أول وحدة راح تكون Generative Research في البداية، ثم بعد هذا ما يكون عندنا prototype أو نموذج أولي، راح تكون هذه راح يكون النوع الثاني، ثم النوع الثالث لما نطلق المنتج when we launch our product to the market. كنت تحدثتي عن يعني you have mentioned a very important point، هي أنه فيه يعني بعض الفرق ممكن تكون عندها resources أو الموارد تكون محدودة، فما يقدروش أنه يقوموا بكل أنواع الأبحاث هذه في مختلف هذه المراحل. وذكرتي أنه في نوع secondary research بما أنه يحدث من دون تدخل المستخدمين، فممكن أنه ما تكونش طريقة recommended، لأنه ما تقدروش ما راحش يكون عندنا insights into the users and how they would use the product. فبالتالي في نظرك ماذا تنصحين الفرق اللي عندها موارد محدودة أو ستارت ابس اللي تكون غير كما بدات ومازال ما عندهاش فاندين؟ ففي نظرك ماذا يمكن أن يفعلوا حتى يقوموا بال UX research بطريقة تكون فعالة ومفيدة لل product development process تاعهم؟
So the first advice that stop tell us that we can do research, because everyone can do research. يعني même with limited resources we can do research. ما كاش حاجة تمنعنا ما نروحوش البحث في تجربة المستخدم. So the first advice, yeah. So if they have limited budget and they can't have a UX researcher role، يعني ما يكونش باحث في تجربة المستخدم معاهم، they can يعني add it as one or as a task to UX UI designer. And I don't want to speak about companies that starts without UX designer, because we can talk about them. So it's important. I see that sometimes PM, product managers or product managers do research in some companies. So we can do it. And I think we can start with maybe a process with some methods like I mentioned before, starting with testing, like test with your family, with your friends, with your mates, and you can also do secondary research. أنا ما ننصحش secondary research وحدها. Start with secondary research, try to have an idea, general idea, and then go with the primary research. So إذا بديت بالsecondary research, try to have an assumptions and validate these assumptions with your users in primary research. So you can start with simple methods like interviews, market analysis, and user testing without logistics and planning, etc. So try to follow some best practices and don't tell that I need to have use UX lab and software like Maze or user testing. No, try to start with something free. Interviews are free, testing with your family is free, and then you can maybe make the process more mature. So you can start with simple methods and approach.
Excellent. Thank you, Asma. شكرا أسماء. إذا great news to everyone. Everyone can do UX research. إذا تحتاجوا UX research and you can do it يعني regardless of your resources. شكرا ليك يا أسماء على على الانسايت اللي عطيتيهولنا بخصوص هذا الجزء. جزء مهم جدا في تصميم تجربة المستخدم هو أبحاث تجربة المستخدم. كانت أسماء ذكرت في نقطة من نقاط أنواع الأبحاث هذه. المرحلة الثانية اللي راح نحتاج أنه ويفاليديت ولا ويتست الديزاين تاعنا من خلال البروتوتايب أو من خلال النموذج الأولي. مروة لو ننتقل ليك، هل ممكن يعني تعطينا فكرة حول البروتوتايبين؟ ما هو البروتوتايب وكيف نقدروا نصمموا بروتوتايب للمنتج تاعنا؟
Okay, thank you so much, Asma, the other Asma, for explaining the whole research process. She made it easy for me to just skip this part and move to the prototyping part. So basically, في UX design process, after you emphasize or you understand your product to your audience, and then you do the research, and then you analyze, and then نروحوا للpart حسب design, which contains not like literally design اللي هو الديزاين اللي يكون اللي هو ال UI design, no, but before this is sketching and prototyping. So basically sketching يكون generally سواء يكون على whiteboards، يكون على papers, books، يكون على papers ولا notebooks or whatever. And then prototyping هو the process where design teams they implement all the ideas they have in mind in forms من like we talked, from papers to digital. يعني يحولوا الأشياء اللي رسموها في البيبرز ولا الأفكار اللي رسموهم في البيبرز إلى digital، يعني يحولوهم على شكل screens or whatever. مثلا ناخذ مثال تطبيق or mobile application أو web application، يحاولوا يجسدوا الأفكار اللي رسموهم يكونوا عبارة عن دوائر، مستطيلات، images، يعني يكونوا في مستطيل أو buttons وما إلى ذلك، يحاولوا يجسدوهم في screens. Okay, so البروتوتايبين هو قلنا البروسيس من الديزاين teams they implement ideas. التيمز هادو they build prototypes of varying degrees، يعني يتغيروا في degrees of fidelity to capture design concepts and test it on users. With prototypes, you can refine and validate your design, so your brand can finally release the right product. Just to explain this, وفي البروتوتايب you can البروتوتايب phase يعني تقدر ما تكونش only one ولكن تقدر تديرها على عدة مراحل. Just like Asma said, you can try your product مع your families, your friends, your sisters, your neighbors وما إلى ذلك. So when you realize لما تاخذ هذوك الايدياز وتجسدهم في سواء يكونوا على سكرين يعني في يعني سواء يكونوا في الهاتف او في اللابتوب وما الى ذلك، تحاول تجربهم على ولا تجربهم مع your friends ولا your neighbors ولا your family حتى تشوف نتايا وتشوف يعني how do we say it يعني البرودكت تاعك مدة ولا درجة نجاحه. okay. So I guess I explained it. So البروتوتايب generally يكون digitalized يعني ما يكونش on paper مثل ما يعملوا في ال UX research teams or before this يعني process before we get to the design part. It's all digitalized.
شكرا يا مروة. بالتالي البروتوتايب هو راح يكون في مرحلة ما راح يكون مرحلة أو تصميم متقدم للفكرة تاع البرودكت هذا. أوكي. فكنا سمعنا يعني من خلال هذا السيشن مفاهيم مثل high fidelity prototype أو low fidelity. مروة، هل في أنواع مختلفة من البروتوتايبس؟ هل ممكن تعطينا نظرة حول يعني أي أنواع أو different types of prototypes؟
Yes, definitely. Generally, people when they think of a prototype, they tend to think of the first type of prototype they experience, but there are actually 4 distinct type of prototypes. وكل واحدة ولا كل type it suits for testing different assumptions. هما كاينين 4 they are well known and 2 of them الأسماء they mention them. كاين feasibility prototype, low fidelity user prototype, high fidelity user prototype and live data prototype. Let's talk more about low fidelity or high fidelity, and then we will explain the two. So usually, as we know, fidelity refers to the level of detail and functionality you include in your prototype. Usually, this thing always depend on the product development stage. يعني, what do I mean? We can always construct one prototype that gives a wide view of the product. So it's website, mobile application, whatever, box or whatever. Or that gives a detailed view of just one feature. For example, يكون عندنا a product ونحبه we add some feature or whatever. So the level of fidelity we choose it generally it should be appropriate for presenting to the users in user testing that they can give focused feedback. Okay, so now let's understand more of the things that I was saying. راح نحكي أول شيء على low fidelity. Example, paper prototype. So low fidelity هو generally ولا low fidelity يكون fast and cheap with disposal و easy to make changes on. We can always test it. We can always test the iteration. Also, we can always allow a quick view of the product. Anyone can produce them. Yeah, that's pretty much all. نروحوا للhigh fidelity. الhigh fidelity هي تكون digital prototypes created on software such as Sketch or Adobe XD. So basically, the high fidelity prototypes يكونوا more real و testing them يعني when we say high fidelity يكونوا digitalized ولا يكونوا digital prototypes ماشي لازم يكونوا فيهم codes or whatever يعني يكونوا فقط باستخدام some softwares like Adobe XD, Figma or Sketch ولكن تحس إنه ال product is like when you give it to someone يعني when you give it to your friends or any user when he is navigating in that product يحس إنه this product is real. نروحوا لل two other types اللي هو live data prototypes. live data prototype generally يكون عنده access to real data اللي تكون sent من real life traffic يعني عندما تكون for example ناخذ for example Facebook or Twitter when they try to renew or add any feature ويحبوا يجربوا for example a new feature or whatever they send it to the users so they can use live data prototypes يعني يخليوا users يجربوا such features ويكونوا يمشيوا على real data. Also live data prototypes they are very limited في implementation تاعهم ويكونوا created by developers they already worked on this. نروحوا لل feasibility prototype generally يكونوا for prototyping new technologies. These prototypes helps to understand technical risks ويكونوا also related to the performance of the product. Overall, these are the four types of prototyping. Feasibility prototypes, low fidelity user prototypes اللي يكونوا initially in interactive wireframes. They doesn't look real, just like we said, يكونوا on paper or whatever. Created by interactive designers just to test the workflow. وعندنا ال high fidelity user prototype. They look so realistic. Also when we said يكونوا digitalized يعني يكونوا on phone or on the laptop when someone is using it يحس إنه it's real. Also high fidelity user prototypes are good for communicating proposed product to people. Also used in defensive user testing. It's not like you can tell that people would like your product or not using the high fidelity user prototypes better than low fidelity prototypes. Overall, these are the four types of prototyping.
Thank you, Marwa. So thank you for giving us an overview on all the types of prototypes we have. So overall عندنا 4 أنواع من البروتوتايبس. ولكن أعتقد أنه الأغلبية ممكن يعني يفكروا في الجزء الهاي فيداليتي بروتوتايب. أعتقد عندنا we already have a question حول ما هي أحسن أدوات اللي راح نقدر نستخدموها حتى نبنيو الهاي فيداليتي بروتوتايب. فممكن يعني تعطينا شوية تفصيل في هذه النقطة مروة؟
Yes, definitely. So for هو ال high fidelity prototype, it's more common, more used by so في بعض developers اللي يكونوا also UI and UX designers ولا حتى يكونوا specialists في الفيلد. So the high fidelity user prototypes are more common or more used, especially in the last decade. So someone is asking what's the best Adobe XD or Figma or Sketch. I would say they are all good. For me, I started with Adobe XD and then switched to Figma. For some reason, Sketch is only available on Mac, but there are other tools that are crazy they are known but only في لما يكونوا designers يعني designers are like they know these tools. So حكينا إنه Figma it's you know high level of tools يعني you can use it for animation, you can use it for prototyping, UI design, for sketching. Also, you can use Figma for literally everything. They have like beautiful features or beautiful plugins. Adobe XD, it's paid, but it's good. The only inconvenient thing about Figma that I can talk about is Figma service تاعهم it's not it's only online. You can't work offline, but Adobe XD you can work offline. For Sketch, I own a Mac, but I've never used it before. For the other prototyping tools for UX designers or UI UX designers, the first one, of course, it's Figma. Second one, it's InVision. You can use InVision for InVision Studio for prototyping. It's a great tool. It was released early in 2011, I guess. More people, like more UX designers, use it because you can upload like when you sketch, for example, a screen, you can take a picture and upload it in InVision and easily use it. There's also Adobe XD. It's common. There's also a tool I kind of used it, but for 1 week, I guess. It's called Webflow. We have also Origami Studio. We have Just in Mind. We have Sketch. We have Fluid UI. We have Framer. We have Framer GS. There's also Marvel, Proto.io, Principle. There are like these are tools that Excel that are on the market. With designers use them a lot. By the way, in all these things that I mentioned, well, these tools or these softwares, there are integrated tools. You can find mockups. You can find integrated screens. Yani everything you need, you will find it there.
Excellent. Thank you very much مروة. شكرا. إن شاء الله تكون إجابتك كافية ووافية لعمر. وإن شاء الله يعني الناس اللي عندهم أسئلة بخصوص يعني مختلف الأدوات أو the different tools for prototyping يكون عندكم نظرة أولية كافية حول هذه الأدوات. شكرا لك يا مروة على الأوفرفيو أو على الشرح المفصل خلينا نقوله حول البروتوتايبس والأنواع تاعهم، وتعرفنا أيضا حتى على مختلف الأدوات المتاحة أونلاين اللي تمكننا من إنشاء our own prototype. حتى الآن أن أتطرق إلى موضوع شيق جدا، هو موضوع يعني ممكن لا يخطر في البال من أول نظرة أو من أول ما نحكيه على UX design، ولكن هو يعني موضوع يعني بدأ في التوسع وممكن يعني يشهد تطور سريع في الأيام المقبلة. راح نتطرق إلى موضوع الذكاء الاصطناعي أو ال AI in UX design. مثل ما شفنا في السنوات القليلة الماضية، التطور الذكاء الاصطناعي وخاصة الميثودز أو الطرق اللي تستعمل الماشين ليرنينج أدت إلى تغيير كبير جدا على مختلف المستويات وفي مختلف المجالات اللي تأثرت وساعدها إدماج الذكاء الاصطناعي في المجال تاعها أنه يحصل فيها تغيير كبير طبعا للأحسن. فلا شك أنه راح يكون في أيضا تأثير للذكاء الاصطناعي على مجال التقنين مثل تصميم تجربة المستخدم. الآن يعني راح أتوجه إلى نهى. I will ask you to give us insights from your experience, from what you learned throughout your experience in this topic. Can you give us first an overview about how could possibly AI impact or change the UX design, since it doesn't sound something like very intuitive. Like you wouldn't think about AI intervening in something very creative, such as designing something, designing a product. So how could that be possible?
Actually, this subject is, I like this too much actually today's, because AI, in nowadays, we are doing too much research about how technology can help users and how technology can save some problems. So the AI is helping us develop new solutions that is helping the human being actually everywhere. So when I talk about artificial intelligence, I talk about how we can solve those problems for users and how we can gain time and even efforts with artificial intelligence. So the idea is, in my point of view, AI needs a lot of user experience, a lot of data actually to solve those problems. So Asma, we're talking about this. Even later, I am going to talk about AI with prototyping, testing. Yes, we are doing this, and we are doing research on that. So I said, first, we need to understand and collect this data. And in the other side, actually, artificial intelligence need data to work. So we need informations to analyze. We need information so we can actually learn our machines to work as humans. So AI needs user experience to understand and define problems, even to prototype. And in the user experience design field, I can say that AI helps in analyzing results of testing and give us predictions, and analyzing interviews also in user experience research. As Asma said, actually we are working on new solutions even on the user experience design field, not in the whole process. So we can do research easily with some solutions online using artificial intelligence, but those solutions need to data to work and to so they can learn about informations about users. The thing that I found while I were working on this field and AI and user experience, I found how we can explain AI to a child. And I found this actually this definition: artificial intelligence for kids is the art of teaching computers how to think. And actually, I found this even user experience design is using design thinking. So in the other side, I found also students become the designers of the computer brain through coding and programming. And artificial intelligence is the way of the future that allows students to become creators of the latest technologies. And I like this too much because explaining this in a simple way, we can understand how artificial intelligence can actually use thinking and use learning to improve solutions, to improve experiences. We all know that even artificial intelligence need a lot of work of collecting data and of teaching those machines and computers so they can understand humans, because when we talk, we have emotions, we have voices, we talk with our hands, and machines need time to learn this. In my opinion, I think that AI can help the UX design field to improve and to gain time. Maybe even to not have many interviewees, and even when we don't find actually people to interview we can do this online. We can analyze voice recording using the artificial intelligence, and we are working on some solutions like this. We can also use artificial intelligence to test wireframes, and also we use AI to transform those wireframes into codes. So this is why I wanted to talk about it, because it can help us to work, but it cannot replace our brains and our eyes and our hands. So this is it. We can create solutions that can help us, yes, but I think that it will allow us to gain more time to get more solutions for users.
Thank you, Noha. This is very insightful, especially like the way you simplified explaining AI. So, in a certain way, since AI is helping us to test, let's say, wireframes or testing our prototypes, in a certain way, it's replacing the user at a certain level, right? So,
Never ever.
But is this what we are actually trying to do? Because if the whole process is centered on the user, then how would it make sense to like use the AI to test something that is supposed to be tested by a human being? Like, can you please detail in this point?
Actually, when we test those prototypes and wireframes, we are not replacing users, but we are getting data and we are analyzing this data so we can have insights and maybe other solutions. So we can actually test with more users and to get more quantitative information. And even we are trying to work on qualitative informations with analyzing emotions, voices, so we can understand the user. So actually it can help us, because when we talk in something in Arabic and explain it, and the same thing in English, emotions can be different. So teaching those machines or computers to understand even the English language with the tone and analyze it, and even with the Arabic language and the Arabic tone, it's amazing. And even in the whole Arabic world, we are working on how we can actually test and analyze the Arabic content, which is maybe sometimes we write differently with the word with Arabic words, and 7 we use the numbers to write words. So this is Arabizi. So, but we are improving solutions so we can use this data to improve more and more our solutions.
Okay, so AI is helping us to improve our products by getting more insights from the users. If I got it correctly, right?
Yes, great. And even to get more emotional analysis, and even on the user experience design for emotions is so important.
Excellent. So this is actually great news for all the UX designers, right? So they will be able to like get into new levels of analyzing their data or understanding their users. But if we think on the long run, and this is like, I think this is a typical question that gets asked whenever we talk about like machines doing a human's job. So in the long run, do you think that there is a chance for AI to replace a UX designer at some level?
Actually, I think it cannot. Actually, it can't replace the humans, but maybe in 300 years, I don't know. But the thing that I was thinking about and even discussing with teams, etc., so that machines can't replace our way of thinking and even our creative way. We can teach them to do our work. So actually, we can take vacations. But I don't know. I think that in many years, even in 100 years, things will evolve and all the world will evolve. So we can have more jobs, even using the AI and with user experience design. 10 years ago, the UX design doesn't even exist. But we can actually improve this field using the artificial intelligence, so we can improve our lives and create many other solutions for ourselves or for our other human beings.
Thank you, Nuha. And this is another great news for the UX designers. Don't worry, AI will not replace you for the time being. And this is actually a very intriguing point, because what we have been doing so far as humanity was first creating mechanical machines to replace human beings when it came to mechanical tasks, like doing things with your hand. And then we started working on like improving the computer capabilities and teaching these machines and using AI to delegate somehow the tasks that require thinking, so that the machines do the thinking, so us human beings do the one thing that nobody else on this world can do, which is being creative. So when we see that machine learning or AI in general is getting into this specific area in which we are supposedly being the only one who can do it, being creative, it becomes really intriguing to think, can actually machines replace us and do this? And if machines can do this, then what else can we do as human beings, right?
Actually, machines, I think, in my opinion, machines can't have emotions. For now, I don't know in many years how it can be, but being human, it's so important, and I think we are creating those solutions so we can improve our lives. This is what I was saying. So in my opinion, those machines will one day, or they are helping us and will help us. We are trying to actually, and I know that even on medicine, even in other fields, we need the artificial intelligence to solve many problems, medical problems, health problems, economic problems in every area. So in my opinion, I like technology. So, and I'm creative, so I'm creating things. I love designs, visual design, etc. So this is why I was actually looking in this field, AI with user experience. So in my opinion, we can just find some solutions using AI, and we will see in 100 years how it can be.
Excellent. This is really great. Like, thank you very much, Nuha, for bringing this topic. I was really glad to hear from you about it, and I'm looking forward to hearing more. Maybe we can have you in future sessions to
Yes.
learn more about this and discuss even further.
Yes, absolutely. I'm doing some research about this, and even Google is working in this field too much. So there is many subjects that we can have.
This sounds really amazing. So this and sounds very promising for our future sessions and for more content on this channel. Thank you very much, Nuha, for bringing this up and for sharing your insights into it. With this, we can maybe dive into the questions by the audience. So before we conclude our session, so if you have any questions regarding what we have been talking about in this session, if you have any questions about UX and UX design, please make sure to ask them in the chat and we will try to answer. So I'm going to take the first question from Mahmoud. Mahmoud asks, the end result of UI UX for a website is a series of sketches or images that shows the website, how the website will look like when it's finished. Asma, would you like to give us an idea about this? What do you think? Is are the sketches the end result of a UI UX design?
I think maybe the first version to test it, we can go with sketches, but at the end, for as new XUI designer, we will give as a result the full prototype with interactive illustrations, details of content, etc. But we can start with sketches, some low fidelity to test the concepts and confirm if we are on the right path or no. But the end result of all the process is a high fidelity prototype with all details. It's my opinion.
Thank you, Asma. Mahmoud, I hope this answers your question. Another question from Maria. What's your advice for beginners? I'm following a course on Udemy to learn UX UI. Nuha, maybe you would like to give us an answer about this, especially as you are an UX instructor. What's your advice for beginners?
For beginners, start learning the whole process and apply everything with to understand the users, be empathic with the users. You need too much empathy to understand the users and actually to listen to them, and later to so you can define solutions for them, and even with having insights and before starting working on the prototype. So this is the most important thing. Do your research, as Asma said. You need the market research, competitive research, users with do interview with users. So it's not so complicated to start, but you need to focus on those steps so you and apply them in every step, so you can say that we are working with the user experience design process. And later with the user interface design, start with prototyping your solutions, and you need to be convinced that you need to test your prototypes. Even as Marwa said, you need to test your prototype on a wireframe to test the concept, and later to test the high fidelity prototype, so you can understand if your solutions are working for users or not. So good luck, Maria.
Thank you, Nuha, and good luck, Maria, on your learning journey. Let's take another question from Omar.
May I add?
Yes,
may I add
yes.
something to Maria? So just she's asking for an advice for beginners. If that she's following a course on Udemy, and just to clarify a point. Generally, courses on Udemy, Coursera, or even on design, even on interactive design foundation, which is the most recognized certificate you can ever have. They are all expensive, as we can say. I can tell Maria that you can see some crash courses. You can also always check videos of designers, of UX researchers, of how do they work on prototypes. You can read blog posts about the whole UX design process, how to do it, and then just prepare yourself first and know the whole process, and then go to study a course on Udemy or Coursera or interactive design course, and then get certificate. But for beginners, as I was a beginner once upon a time, I did a mistake, which was I directly went to Udemy and started the course, and then I found myself in like a circle. I was studying, and then I didn't know what is it. Then I got back to YouTube to have like a simple explanations, simple words to understand the meaning of how do you say, emphasize, ideate, prototype, sketch, and then when I got back to the course, I found myself like having a good idea about everything. And then when I each assignment or each test I go through, it would be like it was easier after understanding some concepts before getting into a course. So that's my advice for beginners. Try to have an overview about what's UX design, and then choose a course on Udemy or on Coursera. That's all. Thank you so much, Asma. Well, thank you,
Thank
Naha.
you مروة for your input. إن شاء الله تكون هذه كل نصائح تكون يعني مفيدة لماريا ولغيرها من المبتدئين في هذا المجال. بما أننا نحكي على الكورسات ونحكي على كورسيرا ف I have a question for you مروة specifically for you. عمر يسأل عن برنامج منحة جوجل لكورس تجربة المستخدم وقدمناها ولكن ما استطاعش أنه يبدأ فيها، فهل ممكن أن تعطينا نظرة عن هذا المشكل؟ هل في أي شيء ممكن يمنع أنه الأشخاص يتعلموا الكورس هذا على كورسيرا؟
Yes, unfortunately, الناس اللي في السودان they were able only to enroll, I guess, data analytics and project management, but they weren't able to enroll in UX design and IT support and IT automation. It's not like from Coursera itself, but it's from the like US is banning such content as such as some countries. So this problem, I don't know what's the we contacted Coursera for this, and وهم literally يعني حرفيا قالوا إنه it's you know, it's from the US government, and since Coursera belongs to US government, so they follow the restrictions and everything. So we are so sorry that you can't do this, but let's hope they will find a solution for it in the very early soon. In the meantime, you can enroll other good let's say other good tracks such as data analytics. Data analytics also can help you in UX design. You know, when you're like doing the you know when you're building a persona, when you're doing whatever, you can use data analytics. Also, project management to organize the whole UX design process for you. So don't miss the chance of the scholarship. Try to enroll other tracks, and then once we find, inshallah, a solution for UX design, we will let you know. Thank you so much.
شكرا لك يا مروة. فعلا نتمنى أنه هذا المشكل يحل عن يعني في أقرب وقت ممكن حتى يتمكنوا كل الناس اللي مهتمين بهذه الكورسات أن يتعلموا منها ويشاركوا فيها. سؤال من سمية، إذا تحبوا مروة أو نهى تجاوبوا عليه. سمية تسأل عن أنه هل ممكن تجد عمل عن طريق الشهادة اللي راح تتحصل عليها من خلال تعلم الكورس هذا على موقع كورسيرا، خاصة أنه يعني عندها شهادة أو اختصاصها يعني غير مختلف، وممكن ما كانتش أكتيف أو ما اشتغلتش الفترة اللي فاتت. فإذا تحبوا مروة أو نهى تجاوبونا على هذا السؤال وتعطينا نظرة حول ما راح نستفيده من خلال هذا الكورس.
Okay, let's Nuha give her opinion and then we'll see.
Thank you, Marwa. So actually, Sumaya, if you start with the UX design course, you will be able to work on your portfolio. So actually, you will build 3 case studies, and the whole thing that you need to learn and practice and show in companies that they can hire you. So the idea with the UX design track, try to focus on and to work hard. Sorry for this, but we need to work hard actually doing courses. So you can build your portfolio and you can share it later online. And in the user experience design course, there is in the 7th course, there is many tips how you can find a job, how you can prepare your interview, how you can prepare all elements. And this is amazing on how it's done on the UX design course on Google. So yes, go for it. Try to focus it will be for 3 months, Marwa, right? So around 3 months they can focus, so to get the certificate and to be able to show people that to show companies that they can hire you. If you want to add something, Marwa, on it.
Actually, let's say, who you shouldn't, since, thank you, Neha, for what you said. هو إنه the thing now with يعني من بداية الكورونا حتى الآن ظهروا بزاف في الشركات اللي they want people to work remotely, يعني you can work from home, you can do freelance. Let's say companies now, they are looking for a lot of freelancers, especially designers who can do, let's say, UX design or UI design. You shouldn't have let's say a certificate حتى تشتغلي freelance. Okay, you just have to practice and learn the whole process, just like how I was saying, and then you have to work hard, just like had said. You have to work hard, and you have to create your own name في المارket of UX يعني بين UX designers. It's not easy, it's not hard, يعني it will just take you time and a lot of hard work to do this. ولكن مع الوقت ممكن انك يعني في الوقت اللي انت تطوري من نفسك ممكن تتعلمي، ممكن تحصلي على شهادة. اكيد شهادة ولا certificate راح تساعدك حتى توجدي يعني تكون عندك opportunities، ولا يكونوا عندك let's say options أكثر مع شركات أكبر. ولكن في الأول just like I said, you have to work hard, you have to work a bit hard، يعني تجتهدي وتبذلي جهد، يعني وتضيعي وقت، ولكن you spend more time في البروسيس تاع learning و also working على probably ما يكونوش real projects، ولكن تشوفي all the projects you get inspired، تحاولي you find solutions ولا for real problems ولا real dilemmas إلى غير ذلك. والشهادة تأتي من بعد، ولكن الشهادة هي it's not important at first، but at the end if you're building a career and everything you have to get certificate حتى يعني when the companies contact you, they can tell, well, they can see that yes, this person is certified in UX design, so يقدروا يعتمدوا عليك ويشوفوا also your portfolio with things you worked on before. That's all.
شكرا مروة ونهى، وبالتوفيق لك يا سمية إن شاء الله. يعني راح بالمزيد من العمل الجاد، بمزيد من الاجتهاد والتطبيق إن شاء الله راح تتمكني من إيجاد عمل في المجال اللي تحبيه. ناخذ آخر سؤال من عمر يسأل أن إذا تعلمت أدوبي XD وتقدمت فيه، ولكن هل هذا كافي أن نكون UX ديزاينر؟ مروة، بما أنك حكيتي على هذه الأدوات وشفنا أنه يعني جزء فقط من المهارات أو الخبرة اللي لازمة حتى نقدروا أن نصمم تجربة المستخدم، ما رأيك في هذا الشيء؟
هو what I can say about this هو كل ما تقدم في Adobe XD, Sketch, Figma, they always add new features, these softwares ولا these tools. So you always keep learning من هذه التولز ولا من هذه السوفتويرز. So انك تعرف تستعمل هذه التولز, this doesn't mean you are a UX designer, okay? Because I personally started working with these tools as a UI designer, and I thought everything I was doing was UX. And then when I got to understand literally everything about UX design, everything I was doing was totally wrong. I was just putting some colors or some buttons at some places and they look beautiful, because UX design, it's not about it's totally different than UX, because UX, it's just like we said, it's about thinking how the user will use it and how user will interact with it and how it will be easy for it to use it, etc., etc. But for the UX design, you can put many buttons and many colors, it will look beautiful, but the user experience is really bad. So basically, knowing how to use Adobe XD, you can use Adobe XD. You can be a good UI designer, but not 100% a UX designer. Okay, for UX design, we can only use Adobe XD في البارت الخاصة بالبروتوتايبين or let's say sketching، لأننا نرسمه يعني buttons ودوائر، يعني ما يكونش content وما يكونوش ألوان وما إلى ذلك. Okay, I hope this is an answer for you. So أنك تجيد استعمال Adobe XD أو Figma أو أي other tool, this doesn't mean you're a good UX designer, but you can tell it's good. You are a good UI designer.
شكرا لك يا مروة. إن شاء الله يا عمر كنا أجبنا على سؤالك. حتى نفصل فقط في هذه النقطة، نهى, I would like to take your opinion on this. When can you say that I am a UX designer? What should I have? What should I need as skills and experience to say that I am a UX designer?
Actually, first you should learn the process and practice the process. So with interviews, with trying to get insights, and actually how we can transform user needs to solutions. So this is actually the process to go through. And the most important thing that even when we get solutions, we need to test them with the users. And when we get feedbacks, we can say that we are practicing user experience design, so we are user experience designers. And the most important also thing that we need empathy. We need to actually listen to users, to not be give our opinions as the best ones, but to listen to users, to understand their problems, and later when we get some
Apparently, there is a problem in.
Nuha, can you hear us?
Apparently, there was a problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes.
Welcome back.
Yes, I came back. So to be user experience designer, I was saying you need to practice and you need too much empathy. Listen to users, and even when you get solutions, try to get feedbacks from users. This is it. Thank you, Asma.
Thank you, Nuha, for your input. I think this was very insightful. يعني الكل الحاضرين معنا هذه راح تكون يعني نظرة تعطيكم نظرة حول المهارات أو الخبرة اللي يجب أن تحاولوا توفروها حتى تقدروا أنه يعني تقولوا أنه عندكم خبرة في مجال اليو اكس ديزاين وتبداو ممكن تبداو الكارير تاعكم فيها. بهذا نكون وصلنا إلى ختام هذه الحصة. أعتقد أنه تجاوزنا ساعة ونص. كان الحديث شيق جدا. It was very insightful discussion with all of you ladies. شكرا لكم جميعا على كل المشاركات تاعكم. فقط حتى ناخذ آخر كلمات ولا your few last words بخصوص الموضوع هذا وبخصوص الحصة هذه. ممكن يعني إذا أي وحدة عندها أي نصائح للأشخاص اللي حابين يبدأوا في المجال هذا أو اللي بدأوا يشتغلوا في أو يتعلموا في اليو اكس ديزاين وحابين يبدأوا الكارير تاعهم. إذا عندكم يعني any last words أو أي نصائح تحبوا تشاركوها معكم فناخذوا دقائق قليلة حتى نختموا بها هذه الحصة. مروة نبدأ بك.
Yes, sure. Thank you, Asma. Thank you, ladies, for all the information you've given today. So my advice would be, you think, or you might not think, and UX design is something hard, but it's not. You can think it's easy, and it's not. So it's something in between. You can only, or you should only be, let's say, be patient, because you will deal with people, you will deal with technology. So I can tell لي هو المجال أو هو let's say not the only one، ولكن هو المجال اللي يحتم عليك انك تستعمل تكنولوجيا وتكون involved in technology also involved in psychology. So it's like a combination, to be honest. Yes, because you will deal with many people. Just prepare yourself, because once you start working in this field، ولا هو مجرد ما تبدا تشتغل في هذا المجال راح تتحط امام الكثير من الاوبشنز وامام الكثير من المجالات اللي لازم عليك تكون عندك معرفه كافيه فيهم، سواء كان علم النفس، علم الاجتماع، علم الناس، علم البودي لانجويج، لانه في بعض الاحيان تكون مع اشخاص they are testing your product. They tell you it's good, but from their body language you can tell that it's not good, or they are facing problems using it. So all these things هما صح UX design or UI and UX design field in general. It's funny because you get the chance to work in technology with softwares, with tools. You also تكون محتك بالdevelopers، يعني you know how coding it is, how programming things goes on and everything. وalso تكون من الجانب اللي يكونوا فيه الكثير من الناس، تتعامل مع العديد من الشخصيات وما إلى ذلك. It's not easy, it's not hard، ولكن يتطلب منك فقط بعض من البيشنس وبعض من الجهد وبعض من الوقت. Okay, so كل واحد حاب يبدأ في هذا المجال. You have to make sure أنك you are oriented 100% to this thing، لأنه once you're in it مستحيل أنك تقدر تشتغل في شيء أنت you're not into it، ولا you just find اللي هو مصدر ربح جيد، ولا تشوف أنه فيه المال الكثير. Okay, but you have to love it in the first place. So كل واحد حاب يدخل في المجال وحاب يكون part من الكوميونيتي خاصة بهذا المجال. You can do it, but أول حاجة وآخر حاجة هي you need patience and you need time. And thank you so much Asma, Noha, and Asma, also Asma Haidor, for this amazing panel discussion.
شكرا لك يا مروة على مساهمتك، وشكرا على كل التفاصيل اللي حدثتينا عليهم اليوم. أعتقد أنه راح تكون مفيدة للعديد من الناس اللي حضروا هذه الحصة، وممكن يعني حتى تساعدهم في أنه يبدأوا الكارير تاعهم أو حياتهم المهنية في هذا المجال. مروة تقول لكم لازم تحتاجوا الصبر، تحتاجوا المثابرة، وتحتاجوا الوقت حتى تنطلقوا في مسيرتكم المهنية as UX designers. Noha, if I go to you, what do you think? What advice would you give to anyone in this field? And if you have any final words to share in this session.
Thank you, Asma. I join Marwa for everything she said. If you are in love with this field, just start. This is it. And it's amazing because even with the UX design, you will learn working with developers, with other visual designers, with other even fields. I know that when you are UX designer, if you are working on a health product or solution, you need to learn about healthcare, you need to learn about this field also. And this is amazing also for ourselves. Yani, we are involving in our lives, in our societies, and with our community. So just start, this is it, and keep doing a great work.
Thank you very much, Noha. I was so glad to have you here with us, and I was so glad to share this panel with you. Off to you, Asma, if you can hear us. Do you have any advice for beginners or people who want to learn UX design, or do you have any final words to share with our viewers tonight?
Yes, so for me, I think you should start learning the basics and master the theory and learning the process, patterns, and the best practices. And maybe something that we should have as an UX designer is solving mindset, because I think as UX designer we should solve a lot of problems and help users during their journey. So maybe 70% of our role as UX designer or researcher or UX UI designer is to finding the real problem, and 30% designing the solution. So as Einstein said, if I had an hour to solve a problem, I'd spend 55 minutes thinking about the problem and 5 minutes thinking about the solution. Why I talk about this? Because I see that a lot of UX designers and me also suffer from depression maybe sometimes. So we spend a lot of time thinking about the problems, the solutions, and maybe we spend a whole day without designing something, and at the end we depress. So don't give up when you pass a whole day without designing a screen or flow or something like this, but because you are trying to solve the problems, and it's the most important. Secondly, as UX designer also I suffer from something that I think I take feedback personally. So trust me, as UX UI designers, you should receive a lot of feedbacks from all developers, business managers, and it's hard to accept them. So try to maybe respect the feedback, and when you are sure that it's not the right way to do something or it's not the right feedback, try to respect them and convey them with your knowledge and your arguments in a kind way. So don't depress and don't take feedback personally. So that's all.
Yes, yes, I
Amazing.
definitely agree with Asma about this because okay, as I was talking about difference, you can be a good UI designer, but you can be a UX designer. Um, yes, I totally agree with Asma when she said like designers or let's say UI UX designers, most of the times you find them depressed when they spend like days and days, up to 4 or 5 days, sometimes a week without designing anything. Sometimes they're like they have like um, such their heads are blocked. They can't work on anything for you can like 1 month or more. It's so depressive, right? But the thing about UI and UX designers, they should be more patient. That's what I mentioned. Also, they should be patient, and it's all a matter of time. Don't be depressed, just like Asma said. Yes, don't be depressed. Thank you so much, Asma.
So welcome, you are welcome.
Noha, were you going to add something to this? Because I felt that this point resonated so much with you too.
Amazing. Actually, this is it. Designing solutions means getting feedbacks, and this is it. So I joined Asma and Marwa for this. But I do insist in something: empathy, and empathy. Listen to your users and try to solve their problems, and you are going to be good UX designers.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Nuha. Thank you very
Thank
much,
you,
Asma. Thank you
Asma.
especially for bringing this point. I think this could be a whole topic of its own where we can have a complete open
Right.
discussion about it. Right?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
There are lots of topics related to UX
Related.
designer, like imposter syndrome, design critics, feedbacks, etc.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'd be more than glad to host you again, all of you ladies, to discuss these topics in the future. Since we are talking about it, if you, dear viewers, إذا كان عندكم أي مواضيع حابين أنه تشوفوا حصص عليها، حابين أنه نتناقشوا عليها، تقدروا تخبرونا في التعليقات and we will make sure to take it into consideration. شكرا جميعا، شكرا جزيلا لكم. أول حاجة ضيفتي الكريمات, thank you very much for your participation in this panel. Thank you very much for your inputs. It was very insightful. I enjoyed very much discussing with you. Thank you, Marwa, Asma, and Nuha. I really hope to host you again in another session, because time is not enough to discuss all what we want. Like if you noticed, we have exceeded our time for this session, like by more than half an hour, and we're not even close to finish. So thank you very much for joining me on this panel. I hope to see you very soon in one of our upcoming sessions. Thank you very much for our viewers. Thank you for participating with us and engaging with us. إن شاء الله يعني نكون جاوبنا على أسئلتكم. إن شاء الله يعني تكون وضحت الفكرة بخصوص مجال تصميم تجربة المستخدم. إذا كان عندكم أي أسئلة أو مواضيع حابين أن نشوفوها في الحصص المقبلة تقدروا تخبرونا في الشات. وبهذا نصل إلى ختام حصتنا اليوم. شكرا جزيلا على متابعتكم وحضوركم. تقدروا تجدوا التسجيل تاع هذه الحصة بعد ما تنتهي. كل التسجيلات كل الحصص راح تكون موجودة على قناة اليوتيوب جي مينا. نشوفكم في الحصص المقبلة بإذن الله. شكرا جزيلا من جديد مروة، أسماء ونهى. hopefully راح نشوفكم في الحصص الجاية. مع السلامة جميعا.
Thank you everyone. Bye.
Thank you everyone.